Alright, and welcome back to another walkthrough Wednesday. Today we are going to be walking through the Tabula Mundi. This is the Lazy Genius Tarot and Bazaar. My name is Alex. Like I said, welcome back to the channel, and if you are new here, thank you for making this your first video. Like I said, today we are going to be unboxing the Tabula Mundi by M.M. Moline. I also have the book here, the Liber Mundi. So we will give that a quick once over as well. There's also a bookmark with the same stamp from the box on it for the book, which is pretty cool. So we will start with the book, I suppose. And here you have a picture of the card. It is black and white. But then you have a breakdown. And it looks like more than a page. About 2 pages for each card. Some of them a little bit longer for the majors, and it looks like the same can be said for the minors. I'm not sure, but I do know that I have looked at this thing over time and time and time and time again, and I think that this is a actual signature from M.M. Moline on the title page, and this is the first edition. I don't know if you can see that there. So there's that. You can tell it's definitely been broken in a little bit. The binding there on the spine has definitely been broken once or twice. Definitely a good book. And then the deck, make sure I'm centered here. This is the Coloris Arcus edition of the deck. It has the ribbon bound little white book. You can see the ribbon in the center there. But it is a pretty decent little white book. It goes into enough detail, I suppose, as far as meanings are concerned. But it is like a stamped image on the front here. Very well put together. It came with this sort of a paper strap around the deck, wherein it's numbered 190. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. Okay, there you go. And then here, to pull the cards out, we have the Coloris Arcus number 190, and I've looked this over quite a few times as well. Let me see if I can get it to focus. There we go. And that also looks like it could be a actual wet ink signature on the card there. So that's pretty cool. Here are the card backs. I wonder if I can get it to show on camera. But in the black portions of the card backs here, there are these like holographic pieces. I'm trying to see if I can get it to show up on camera. Yeah, you can see a little bit of it, like right there. So that's the Coloris Arcus, the holographic back. Let me go ahead and zoom in. Make sure I'm in the frame. All right. And we are now going to take a walk through the Tabula Mundi, Coloris Arcus edition, deck number 190. Pretty sure it's the same images as the other ones. It's just the packaging and the backing that are probably the differences here between this one and the others. This is going to be a Thoth-based deck. All right. And here we have the Hierophant. This is a very interesting image. You see the two skeleton keys, the pentagram, the six-pointed star here. She's definitely put a lot to unpack in each of the cards. Like here in the Lovers. Here we have the Chariot, which you have two horses pulling some sort of fantastical creature through a wave on a surfboard with a chalice holding some sort of beverage in it. Some pretty interesting images here in this deck, but again, it is a Thoth-based deck, and the artwork is still really, really cool, even though some of it is kind of weird. Sometimes you just gotta be weird, you know? The corners of this deck here on the first few cards, just on this bottom corner, have been dented up somehow. I think it might have happened in transit, possibly. It doesn't really do anything to the quality of the cards. Here we have Fortune. You'll see each of the majors does have the Hebrew glyph for the card and the astrological symbol. Here's Lust and the Hanged Man. Here, instead of an astrological symbol, we have the elemental symbol. Definitely an interesting death card. Here's the art card. The Devil. This might be one of my favorite Devil cards. I think my absolute favorite Devil card is probably in the Trionfi della Luna by Patrick Valenza, the alternate Devil card. But this is another really cool one here. See how he's got his hands gripped around the rings of Saturn. Definitely lots of Saturn references to the Devil in quite a few of these tarot decks that I've got here. Here we've got the Tower. This almost sort of even reminds me of the Tower from the New Age Tarot. I believe the man's name was Walt Whitmuller or Wegmuller. There you go, Walt Wegmuller. Matter of fact, here, let's see. Here's that deck. Card kind of reminds me of that one in some weird way. That's the Tower card from I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but definitely a cool tower card there. Here we've got the star. Here we have the moon. The sun. Definitely a lot of symbology packed into these cards here. Definitely one of those decks that requires at least some amount of studying. With the pine cone there. The Aeon card. It looks like you've got the Ouroboros inside of a glass beaker of some sort in a pool of what looks to be fire under the moon cycles. It's a pretty cool card. I see a lot of these eggs popping up. Here we have the Universe card. This is also the art on the cover of the book. So definitely a cool Universe card. I like the little galaxies in the background here. The stars, you've got the eagle and the lobster. The lion, it looks like roaring, but there might be water there. The bull looks like he's snorting, but there might be water there, maybe, possibly. I'm not sure. You've got the angel there feeding the fish water. Looks like there is a grinding gear here. Also in this little red dot in the background, it looks like there is a turn wheel gear where you turn the gear on the top and then the bottom one spins and makes everything do stuff. It's a really cool card. It's probably one of my favorite universe or world cards, I think. Here we have the Ace of Discs, and of course more symbology with the numbers up here. It's definitely one of those decks where you are going to want to read the book that goes with the deck before you try to work too much with it. Probably not a deck for beginners. There's a lot of symbology in these cards. Here we have the Ace of Cups. So it looks like we're going to go through all of the aces at once. Yep. Ace of Wands. And then we have the Two of Wands. Three of Wands. Actually a pretty cool Three of Wands. Four of Wands. Five of Wands. The Six. Oh, looks like I got two stuck together. The Seven. The Eight. Nine. And 10. Here you see the Ouroboros in the background with Saturn. The anvil also has that same turning wheel in it that we saw on the Universe card. There's a tiny fire down here billowing under the four wands at the bottom. The last two wands are the hammers there. Definitely a cool 10 of wands. Here's the Knight, the Queen, the Prince, and the Princess. That is the suit of wands. Next we have the cups with the 2 of cups. Very interesting card with lots of stuff in there, lots of symbology to unpack. The 3 of cups. Oh, they look kind of stuck together a little bit. Here we have the 4 of cups, where you see a pearl in the shell and 4 of the stages of the moon. Five of cups. Here's the 6. The 7. Eight. 9. And 10. Now we have the courts, the knight, it's quite a bit to unpack in that card too. The queen, the prince, it's an interesting card. He's on a water chariot with wheels, and his steed is an eagle. It's an interesting card. It took me a second to catch what was going on there. And then we have the Princess of Cups. And on to the swords. Here we have the 2 of Swords. We see a lot of different things in this card, so it almost looks like these swords are acting as a sort of scale where you have a feather and an urn. Both of them seem to have a balance on the scales there. You have the Ouroboros at the base of each side of the scale. You also have the snake on each of the sword handles there. You see the scroll in the bottom, and the moon is at half. You also see the pillars in the back, the black and the white pillar, much like you would in the High Priestess card for Rider-Waite-Smith. So definitely a lot to unpack there. Here's the 3 of Swords, the 4, the 5 of Swords, the 6, So I think this is like a navigator's compass up at the top, one with the little telescope thing where you could see the stars and then map it out. What's that called? A sextant or something like that. And then it's like a model of the planetary system as it moves around the sun. And on the plate there, you can see the symbols for the 12 astrological signs as well. Here's the Seven of Swords with the moon at full. Stuck together. Here's the Eight of Swords. The 9. And the 10 of Swords. Alright, and then here we have the Knight, the Queen, the Prince, and the Princess. And that is the end of the swords. Now we are on to discs. Here we have the 2 discs. So that looks like it's going to be the disc at the bottom and the disc at the top that hold in the sands of time as the consistently spinning infinity gear continues to move. And it looks like you got a couple of I Ching references here and a couple of what appear to be mounds in the background, possibly mountains of some sort. Interesting card there. Here we've got the 3 of discs, the 4 of discs, the 5. It's an interesting card there. There's a lot to unpack in that card. Here's the 6. We see the skeleton keys, pomegranates, the moon and the sun. Seven of discs. It's an interesting card as well. The 8 of discs. Well, this is the second Thoth deck that we've done a walkthrough of where I've seen a pretty consistent recurrence of snakes and eggs throughout the images of the deck from one end to the other. I haven't really started reading into and or using the Thoth-based systems yet. I've just been getting the decks that I like for the collection so that when I do start reading those systems, I am ready and I have the decks that I want. If you know why, if there's anybody watching these videos that knows why there is such a heavy reference to eggs and snakes in Thoth-based decks, please let me know. Here we have the Knight of Discs, the Queen, the Prince, and the Princess. And that is the Tabula Mundi. The cards are kind of big. They're pretty wide in comparison to, say, a Rider-Waite deck. They are a little bit taller and about, I don't know, I'd say a 1/4 inch more wide than the yellow box there. But definitely a cool deck. I think it's one of those decks that's kind of like a must-have if you're into the Thoth system there. It's just super cool artwork. You know, there's a lot of information in these cards to unpack. That is for sure. You know, like here again, we see the egg. Here again, we see the snakes. See the snake on the Fool. So there's a lot of info in there to unpack. There's a lot of recurring symbols through the cards. Specifically snakes, eggs, and pine cones. So, you know, all of that stuff has a symbolic reference or a symbolic meaning within the cards there. So definitely one of those decks that you want to read the book. If you're going to get this deck, you're going to want to get the book as well. Because there's so much information to unpack about these cards. It's good to have some sort of a starting point. I don't even think that the book manages to go through all of the information that there is to unpack in these cards here, but it is the best place to go in order that I know of to get the best information for this particular deck. And from what I've heard, the book T, this is the book M, right? But the book T, which is another Mundi book, is one of the best places to go for Thoth-based system knowledge in general. So if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be a work that is more than likely heavily inspired by that. The book T and the actual Thoth deck there. So this is the Tabula Mundi and the book M, Liber Mundi, both by M.M. Moline. And I hope you enjoyed today's walkthrough. Again, thank you for coming back, and if you are new, thank you for watching this video. If you did like what you saw, or if you do like the walkthroughs that you have seen from me so far, go ahead and hit the subscribe button under the video there. It would be nice to have you aboard, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks again for coming along.